The moment you decide to master your mind, your life begins to change, not because the world suddenly becomes kinder, but because you stop allowing the world to decide who you are. Think about how much of your energy disappears every single day. A stranger says something rude and you replay it for hours. Coworker gets promoted and you question your own worth. A friend ignores your message and your mind creates stories that may not even be true. One unexpected problem ruins your entire day because your thoughts convince you that everything is falling apart. The Stoics believed this is where suffering begins, not with events themselves, but with the meaning we attach to them. Imagine two people standing in the same storm. They both face heavy rain, strong winds, and dark clouds. One person panics, complains, and believes the storm is unfair. The other accepts that the storm exists, looks for shelter, protects what matters, and continues moving when the time is right. The storm is the same. The difference is the mind. Life works the same way. Every person experiences disappointment. Every person experiences failure. Every person experiences loss. Yet some become stronger while others become prisoners of resentment and fear. The difference is rarely intelligence, wealth, or luck. It is the discipline of the mind. This is why the Stoics spent more time training their thoughts than chasing comfort. They knew that comfort can disappear overnight. But a trained mind remains steady no matter what happens. The first lesson is simple, but it takes a lifetime to master. Control what you can control. This principle sounds obvious until life tests you. You cannot control what people think about you. You cannot control the weather, the economy, your past mistakes, or the unexpected challenges that arrive without warning. You cannot force people to love you, respect you, or understand your intentions. Trying to control these things is like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips away. Yet every day, millions of people waste their emotional energy fighting battles they can never win. They argue with reality instead of accepting it. They wish the past had been different instead of learning from it. They fear tomorrow instead of preparing for it. The Stoic mind refuses to play this game. Instead, it asks a different question. What is within my control right now? Perhaps you cannot control whether someone appreciates your work, but you can control the quality of your effort. Perhaps you cannot control whether success comes today, but you can control whether you keep improving. Perhaps you cannot control whether life is fair, but you can control whether you respond with integrity, courage, and patience. These small choices seem insignificant in the moment. Over months and years, they shape your entire character. Picture an archer preparing to shoot an arrow. The archer can train every day, choose the best bow, focus carefully, and release the arrow with perfect technique. But once the arrow leaves the bow, the wind may change. The target may move. Something unexpected may happen. The Stoics used this image to remind themselves that success is never completely in our hands. What belongs to us is the effort, not the outcome. This way of thinking removes an incredible amount of anxiety. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" you begin asking, "Did I give my best?" Instead of fearing judgment, you focus on becoming better than you were yesterday. Instead of chasing perfection, you pursue progress. Modern psychology supports this wisdom. People who focus on what they can influence tend to experience greater resilience, lower stress, and a stronger sense of purpose. They stop wasting emotional energy on circumstances they cannot change and invest that energy where it truly matters. That does not mean life becomes easy. It means you become stronger. Strength is not the absence of difficulty. Strength is remaining steady in the middle of difficulty. Imagine waking up tomorrow with this mindset. Someone criticizes you unfairly. Instead of reacting with anger, you pause and ask yourself, is there something useful in these words? If yes, I will learn. If not, I will let them pass. A problem appears at work. Instead of complaining, you ask, what action can I take right now? A goal takes longer than expected. Instead of quitting, you remind yourself that patience is part of mastery. Little by little, your mind becomes calmer. Not because life is giving you fewer problems, but because you have stopped giving every problem control over your emotions. This is where true confidence is born. Many people think confidence comes from winning. The Stoics believed confidence comes from knowing that whatever happens, You will respond with wisdom rather than panic. That kind of confidence cannot be bought. It cannot be borrowed. It must be earned through daily practice. Every morning presents a new opportunity to train your mind. Before checking your phone, before reading the news, before worrying about everything that could go wrong, ask yourself one question: what is mine to control today? Perhaps it is your attitude. Perhaps it is your honesty. Perhaps it is your discipline. Perhaps it is simply choosing kindness when anger would be easier. These are the victories that build an unbreakable mind. As the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius reminded himself in his private reflections, the quality of our lives is deeply connected to the quality of our thoughts. He faced wars, political betrayal, disease, and personal loss. Yet he continually returned to the same truth. No external event could destroy his character unless he surrendered it himself. That lesson is just as relevant today as it was nearly 2,000 years. The world will continue to change, people will continue to disappoint you. Unexpected challenges will continue to appear. But if your peace depends only on what you can control, then your peace becomes far more difficult to take away. And that leads to the second lesson, one that quietly shapes every moment of your life, whether you realize it or not. Your thoughts become the lens through which you see the world. If that lens is clouded by fear, every opportunity looks like a threat. If it is clouded by envy, every success belongs to someone else. If it is clouded by anger, every disagreement feels like an attack. But when your mind is guided by reason, gratitude, and self-discipline, even hardship becomes a teacher. Instead of an enemy, the battle has never been against the world. The battle has always been within. And the person who wins that battle discovers a freedom that no one can ever take away. The ancient Stoics understood something that many people spend their entire lives trying to learn. Your mind is like a garden. Every thought you allow to grow will eventually produce fruit. Plant fear and fear will multiply. Plant resentment and bitterness will become your daily companion. But if you plant wisdom, courage, gratitude, and discipline, those qualities will quietly shape the person you become. Most people never notice this process because it happens slowly. No one wakes up one morning and suddenly becomes mentally weak. It happens one thought at a time. One complaint becomes a habit. One excuse becomes a lifestyle. One negative belief becomes a prison. Before long, they are no longer reacting to reality. They are reacting to the story they have created about reality. That is why Stoicism places such enormous importance on guarding your thoughts. Imagine walking through a beautiful forest. The sun shines through the trees. Birds sing in the distance, and a cool breeze touches your face. Suddenly, your phone vibrates. A message appears. It is short, cold, and unexpected. Instantly, your mood changes. The forest has not changed. The weather has not changed. Nature is still peaceful. The only thing that changed was a thought. Your mind interpreted the message as a threat, and within seconds, your body responded. Your heart beat faster. Your muscles became tense. Your imagination began creating stories that may not even be true. This happens every day. We often believe our emotions come directly from events. In reality, they usually come from our interpretation of those events. This is exactly what the Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught. He reminded his students that people are disturbed not by things themselves, but by the opinions they hold about those things. That single idea has survived for nearly 2,000 years because it continues to prove itself true. Think back to one of the biggest disappointments in your life. Maybe you lost a job, maybe someone betrayed your trust, maybe a relationship ended. At the time, it may have felt like the end of everything. But look at yourself now. You survived. You learned lessons you could never have learned from comfort. You became wiser because of the experience. What changed? The event stayed in the past. Your interpretation changed. What once looked like destruction eventually revealed itself as growth. The Stoics never denied pain. They never pretended that suffering does not exist. Losing someone you love hurts. Failure hurts. Rejection hurts. They accepted these truths completely, but they also understood another truth. Pain is inevitable. Mental imprisonment is optional. There. is a difference between feeling pain and allowing pain to define your identity. A mentally weak person says, "This happened to me, so my life is ruined." A Stoic says, "This happened to me, and now I must decide how I will respond." Those two sentences create two completely different futures. One creates helplessness, the other creates strength. Look around at the people you admire most. They are not admired because life was easy for them. They are admired because they refused to let hardship become their identity. Every setback became another opportunity to grow. Every obstacle became another lesson. Every failure became another step toward wisdom. That is not luck. That is mental discipline. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack every day. At first it feels normal because you have carried it for so long. Inside that backpack are old insults, painful memories, regrets, jealousy, fear of failure, and endless worries about the future. Now imagine setting that backpack on the ground. Nothing outside you changes, but suddenly you can breathe more easily. You can walk farther. You have more energy. You feel lighter. The backpack was never the world. It was the weight of unnecessary thoughts. How many worries are you carrying today that have never happened? How many conversations have you replayed hundreds of times? How many mistakes continue to punish you even though they are years behind you? Your mind deserves better than living inside an endless replay of the past. The Stoics believe that every new day is an opportunity to begin again. Yesterday can teach you, but it should not imprison you. Regret is useful only when it becomes wisdom. If it becomes self-hatred, it no longer serves any purpose. The same is true for the future. Planning is wise, constant worrying is not. There is a powerful difference between preparation and anxiety. Preparation asks, "What can I do today?" Anxiety asks, "What if everything goes wrong?" Preparation leads to action. Anxiety leads to paralysis. One builds confidence, the other destroys it. Every morning your mind presents you with a choice. You can fill it with fear before the day even begins, or you can fill it with purpose. That choice seems small, but repeated every day, it shapes the course of your life. This is why successful people often guard the first hour of their morning so carefully. They understand that the thoughts they cultivate early in the day often influence every decision that follows. The Stoics practiced this long before smartphones, social media, or 24-hour news cycles existed. They would reflect on the challenges ahead, prepare themselves mentally, and remind themselves of the values they wanted to live by. They trained their minds before facing the world. Imagine if you began every morning by asking yourself, "What kind of person do I want to be today?" Not, "What will happen today?" Will people like me today? Not, "Will everything go according to my plan?" Instead, will I be patient? Will I remain honest? Will I act with courage? Will I protect my peace? Those questions shift your focus from circumstances to character, and character is the one possession that no one can steal from you. The world may take your money, may take your reputation, it may even take your comfort, but unless you willingly surrender it, no one can take your integrity, your courage, or your wisdom. That realization is incredibly liberating, because when you understand that your greatest treasure exists within you, you stop living in fear of losing everything outside you. You become calmer, you become more focused, you stop chasing constant approval, you stop comparing, your journey with everyone else's. You begin living according to principles instead of emotions, and that is the moment real freedom begins. Not the freedom to control the world, but the freedom to remain yourself, no matter what the world does. This is the foundation of an unbreakable mind. It is built thought by thought, decision by decision, day after day. No dramatic transformation, no secret formula, just the quiet discipline of choosing wisdom over impulse, courage over fear, and purpose over distraction. Because the person who learns to govern their own mind no longer needs to fear the chaos around them. They have already built something stronger than circumstances. They have built an inner fortress that no storm can easily destroy. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize that running away from difficulty is impossible. You can change your job. You can move to another city. You can end a relationship. You can buy a bigger house, earn more money, or surround yourself with new people. But wherever you go, one thing always follows you: your mind. If your mind is filled with fear, you will find fear everywhere. If your mind is filled with insecurity, every challenge will feel like proof that you are not enough. If your mind is filled with peace, even chaos will lose much of its power over you. This is why the Stoics believed that the greatest victory is never over another person. The greatest victory is over yourself. Many people spend years trying to change the world before they have learned to manage their own emotions. They want others to become more patient, more honest, more respectful, and more understanding. Yet they rarely ask whether they themselves are becoming those things. Stoicism turns that question inward. Instead of asking, "Why are people like this?" it asks, "How should I respond?" That single shift changes everything. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. Every morning, the mirror reflects exactly what is there. It does not flatter you. It does not insult you. It simply tells the truth. Your daily experiences work the same way. An impatient person sees every delay as an attack. An angry person sees every disagreement as disrespect. An insecure person sees every successful person as competition, but a wise person sees every experience as information. The event has not changed, only the mind looking at it has changed. That is why Stoicism teaches us to become observers before becoming reactors. When something unexpected happens, pause. Before speaking, pause. Before becoming angry, pause. Before assuming the worst, pause. Those few seconds may seem insignificant, but they often determine whether you create peace or unnecessary conflict. Modern psychology calls this creating space between a stimulus and a response. The Stoics practiced it centuries before psychologists gave it a name. They understood that emotions arrive naturally. What matters is what happens next. Suppose someone insults you in front of other people. Most minds react instantly. Anger rises, the heart races, the ego demands revenge. But a trained mind asks a different question. Why should another person's lack of self-control become my lack of self-control? Think about that for a moment. If someone throws mud at you, must you throw mud back? Or can you simply step aside and continue walking? The strongest people are not those who win every argument. They are the people who know which arguments are not worth having. Every unnecessary battle steals something from you. It steals your time, your attention, your emotional energy, and your peace. The Stoics treated these things as precious resources. Imagine receiving 100 gold coins every morning. Would you hand them to every stranger who annoyed you? Of course not. Yet people give away something even more valuable every day: their attention. One rude comment ruins an entire afternoon. One negative opinion destroys a week of confidence. One mistake keeps them awake at night. Without realizing it, they have handed over control of their inner world to someone else. Stoicism invites you to take that control back. Not by becoming cold, not by pretending you have no feelings, but by remembering that your peace is too valuable to be controlled by random events. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal from people he trusted. He led armies during war. He watched disease spread through his empire. He lost loved ones. Yet in his private reflections, he constantly reminded himself that another person's behavior could never force him to abandon his own values. That is extraordinary, because anyone can remain calm when life is easy. Real character appears when life becomes difficult. Anyone can speak kindly when everyone agrees with them. The real test comes when someone treats you unfairly. Will you become like them, or will you remain faithful to your principles? This is where mental strength is born, not in comfort, but in choice. Every difficult moment asks the same question: what kind of person will you be now? Will you choose resentment or wisdom? Will you choose revenge or self-respect? Will you choose panic or patience? Each answer shapes your future character. No decision exists in isolation. Every response becomes practice for the next challenge. If you repeatedly choose anger, anger becomes your habit. If you repeatedly choose discipline, Discipline becomes your identity. That is why your habits matter more than your intentions. Many people intend to become calmer. Few practice calmness when life gives them the opportunity. Many people want confidence. Few are willing to face discomfort repeatedly until confidence develops naturally. The Stoics understood that virtue is built through repetition, just as muscles become stronger through resistance. Character becomes stronger through adversity. Without resistance, there is no growth. Think about the strongest tree in a forest. It became strong because it survived countless storms. Every season forced its roots to grow deeper. Every powerful wind made it stronger. If the tree had always lived in perfect conditions, its roots would have remained shallow. The same is true for human beings. Your struggles may be developing strengths you cannot yet see. The difficult coworker may be teaching patience. Financial hardship may be teaching discipline. Failure may be teaching humility. Loneliness may be teaching self-reliance. This does not mean you should enjoy suffering. It means you should refuse to waste it. Every hardship contains a lesson for the person willing to learn. Every obstacle contains hidden strength waiting to be discovered. This is why the Stoics viewed obstacles differently from most people. Most people see a wall. The Stoic sees a staircase. Most people ask, "Why is this happening to me?" The Stoic asks, "What is this teaching me?" That question transforms suffering into education. Imagine a blacksmith forging a sword. The metal is heated until it glows. Then it is struck again and again by a heavy hammer. To an outside observer, it looks like destruction. But the blacksmith knows something the observer does not. Every strike gives the blade greater strength. Life often feels like that blacksmith. It heats you through difficulty. It shapes you through disappointment. It tests you through uncertainty. If you understand the process, you stop asking why life feels hard. Instead, you begin asking what kind of person this experience is helping you become. That perspective changes everything. You no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstances. You become a student of life. Every challenge becomes another lesson. Every setback becomes another opportunity to strengthen your mind. And slowly, almost without noticing, something remarkable begins to happen. The situations that once overwhelmed you no longer have the same power. The criticism that once kept you awake becomes background noise. The failures that once made you doubt yourself become valuable experience. The uncertainty that once terrified you becomes part of the journey. Not because life has become easier, but because your mind has become stronger. That is the true meaning of resilience. It is not avoiding storms. It is becoming the kind of person who can walk through them without losing yourself. An untrained mind constantly asks the world for guarantees. A trained mind understands that guarantees do not exist. Instead of demanding certainty, it develops courage. Instead of demanding comfort, it develops endurance. Instead of demanding perfect circumstances, it develops inner stability. This is the quiet power of Stoicism. It teaches that your greatest achievement is not becoming famous, wealthy, or admired. Your greatest achievement is becoming someone whose peace cannot be purchased by success or stolen by failure. Because once your happiness depends on your character, instead of your circumstances, you become far more difficult to break. And that is the beginning of true freedom. Build an inner fortress that nothing can destroy. There is a quiet kind of strength that the world rarely notices. It does not shout, does not demand attention. It does not need constant praise or recognition. It walks through life with calm confidence, not because everything is perfect, but because it has learned a powerful truth. Peace is an inside job. Most people spend their lives building an outer fortress. They work hard to earn money, gain status, collect possessions, and create an image that impresses others. There is nothing wrong with success, but there is a problem when your entire identity depends on things that can disappear. Overnight, money can be lost, a career can change, relationships can end, health can decline, public opinion can turn against you. If your happiness depends only on these things, then your peace is always in danger. You will constantly fear losing what you have, and that fear will quietly control every decision you make. The Stoics offered another path, Instead of building your life on external success, build it on internal character. Character cannot be stolen. Integrity cannot be taken away by criticism. Wisdom cannot be destroyed by failure. Self-discipline becomes stronger every time you choose what is right instead of what is easy. This is your inner fortress. Imagine a lighthouse standing on the edge of a rocky coast. Every year it faces violent storms. Massive waves crash against it. Powerful winds shake its walls. Dark clouds hide the stars, and the sea becomes wild with chaos. Yet when the storm finally passes, the lighthouse is still standing. Why? Because it was built on solid rock, not on shifting sand. Your values must become that rock. The world around you will continue to change. Technology will change. Economies will rise and fall. Friendships will evolve. Some dreams will come true, while others will quietly disappear. But if your life is built on courage, honesty, patience, gratitude, and wisdom, then no external storm can completely destroy you. This does not mean you will never feel pain. Even the greatest Stoics experienced grief, disappointment, and uncertainty. They were human beings, not emotionless machines. The difference was that they refused to let temporary emotions become permanent identities. You may feel afraid, but you do not become fear. You may experience failure, but you do not become a failure. You may lose something valuable, but you do not lose yourself. This distinction changes everything. Many people allow one bad chapter to define the entire story of their lives. Failed business convinces them they are incapable. A broken relationship convinces them they are unlovable. One mistake convinces them they will never succeed. The Stoic mind refuses to accept these conclusions. Instead, it asks, what lesson can I carry forward? Every setback contains knowledge. Every disappointment reveals something about your character. Every challenge gives you another opportunity to practice the virtues that matter most. Think back to the strongest version of yourself. It probably was not created during the easiest season of your life. Perhaps it was born after heartbreak. Perhaps it grew during financial hardship. Perhaps it appeared when you had no choice but to keep moving forward. The moments that nearly broke you may also have been the moments that quietly built you. That is one of life's greatest paradoxes. Comfort rarely transforms people. Adversity often does. This is why the Stoics never prayed for an easy life. They prayed for wisdom, courage, and the strength to meet whatever life placed before them. Imagine waking up tomorrow with this mindset. Instead of asking, how can I avoid every problem? You ask, how can I become the kind of person who can handle any problem? That single question shifts your focus from circumstances to character. And character is something you build every day. You build it when you tell the truth, even when lying would be easier. You build it when you stay calm during conflict. You build it when you remain disciplined. After motivation disappears, you build it when you choose patience instead of anger. These moments may seem small, but they become the foundation of an extraordinary life. People often wait for one dramatic event to transform them. The Stoics understood that transformation is usually quiet. It happens in ordinary moments. It happens when no one is watching. Happens when you make the difficult choice simply because it is the right choice. Over time, those choices become habits. Those habits become your character, and your character becomes your destiny. There will always be people who misunderstand you. Some will criticize you without knowing your story. Others will doubt your abilities. A few may even hope you fail. Do not allow their opinions to become your identity. Remember this: people judge you through the lens of their own experiences, fears, and expectations. Their opinions are reflections of their perspective, not measurements of your worth. If you spend your life trying to satisfy everyone, you will eventually lose yourself. Instead, seek something greater than approval. Seek self-respect. Approval comes and goes. Self-respect stays with you. When you can look in the mirror each night and honestly say, "Today I acted with integrity," you have already achieved something many people spend their entire lives chasing. This is the freedom that Stoicism offers not freedom from difficulty, freedom from becoming a slave to difficulty, not freedom from criticism, freedom from allowing criticism to control your peace, not freedom from failure, freedom from believing failure defines your future. As you continue your journey, remember that mastering your mind is not a destination, is a daily practice. Some days you will succeed, other days you will lose your patience, you will make mistakes, you will overthink, you will sometimes react emotionally before wisdom has a chance to speak. That is part of being human. The goal is not perfection, the goal is progress. Each day, become just a little calmer, a little wiser, a little more disciplined, a little less controlled by fear. If you continue doing that, something remarkable will happen. One day you will face a challenge that would have overwhelmed your former self. But this time, you will remain steady. You will breathe deeply. You will think clearly. You will act with purpose. And in that moment, you will realize that your greatest victory was never over the world. It was over your own mind. Because once you master your mind, circumstances lose their power to control your spirit. Storms may still come. People may still disappoint you. Life will still test your patience, courage, and resilience, but deep inside, you will possess something that cannot be bought, borrowed, or taken away. An unbreakable mind, a peaceful heart, and the quiet confidence that no matter what tomorrow brings, you already carry within yourself everything you need to face it. That is the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. And that is why, when you master your mind, nothing can truly break you.